Hello, everyone. Thank you again for turning into this weekly memorial service. Just to recap again, this service is held every Saturday at 11 o'clock a.m. We are having this service because we're unable to have a traditional memorial service in person because of the virus that's going around, and so instead I'm opting for a virtual service that anyone can attend. They can give the name of their deceased loved one in this Google form that we have available, and then I will read the name during the service. So the service is very simple. It will be first the chanting of Sanbutsuge, followed by the reading of the names, and then a short Dharma talk, followed by the reading of the letter on white ashes. So we'll go ahead and get started with the service with the chanting of Sanbutsuge. Namandaps, namandaps, namandaps.仏説無量儒教三仏芸高原義義異人無極如是遠妙無用当社日月万に修行遠慮開室音名有脈十目如来予言朝鮮無人小学大音購入寺法開門精進三昧知恵意徳無量修正慶右神大前年小仏崩壊愚人人の空語外体無明欲ぬ世尊読む人の死死人徳無量空空口内知恵人妙光明異祖神道大戦願が差別在所法可動生じ未不下脱不正上位解任生じ三昧三昧知恵異常合成特物不行志願二切空空一差大安慶死有物百千億万無量大小修行五弱用一切死と小仏不尿具の検証不逆非尿五弱小仏世界不不可見無種節度光明師匠遠視小国尿税精進異人難尿量が差別国土第一五種奇妙 道場超絶国女内音任務闘争ガト愛民道達一切恥来所新熱症状意図学国経絡安穏好物神妙是が心象発願多い力所所欲自法生存知恵無下上量子孫死が信行計量心死食毒中学業精進人流権南蛮ダム南蛮ダム南蛮ダム南蛮ダム南蛮ダム南蛮ダム願にしくどく病の生祭道も大心往生安那公Namandos, namandos, 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 namandos. And now the reading of the names. The names for this weekly memorial service. Douglas Togioka. Yoshio and Mary Tsukamoto. Chris Daikai. Mike Makoto Kimura. Vernon Sakatani. Kaneto Yamamura. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namandos, namandos, namandos. Now, I will give a short Dharma talk. Earlier this month, we celebrated Hanamatsuri. The story of the birth of the Buddha was told, as traditionally is. And it made me think about my appreciation of that story and the great teacher. I don't know if he would necessarily agree, but I believe he's a great teacher. Is Reverend Moskodani, and how he was teaching while I was in Central California. We invited him as a guest lecturer and gave a fantastic talk about how we are supposed to understand the stories that the Buddha told. So the first thing he really tried to impress upon us was, if you listen to these stories and the question that you're asking is whether or not this is true, then you are completely missing the point, because the point of these stories is not to prove that any of the things in the story are real or not. Rather, it's the message that is trying to be pervade. And so when we listen to these stories that the Buddha told, it's important for us to try to figure out, what is it that we are supposed to learn? What is it that we're supposed to take away from these stories? And so when we hear about the birth story of the Buddha, there's really no way of telling. Maybe the Buddha did just walk out of his mother's side, took 7 steps, and it was raining sweet tea, and there was flowers blooming from wherever he stepped. And that, could be very possible. But even more important than that is, what is it that we can take away from that story? We could look at it from this kind of anthropological, sociological view of, well, we have to create this miraculous myth, and so it makes the Buddha seem like this incredible person, which I think, there's something to that. But even more than that, in telling the story, what are the specific lessons that we're supposed to learn that we can help to incorporate in our life? And the big thing that was kind of focused on by Reverend Kodani during his talk was this idea that when the Buddha was speaking, immediately after he was born, the first things he said was he pointed to the sky and he pointed to the earth and said, "In the heavens above and the earth below, I alone am the chosen one," or "I alone am the enlightened one." And so this, of course, again, is pretty miraculous for a baby to talk, but what does it mean, and why is it important that it was the first thing that the Buddha ever said? So backing up a little bit, with the 7 steps that he took, from the understanding that I have received, these 7 steps represent the 7 realms of existence within the Buddhist cosmology. So going back to ancient India and how being reborn in these different levels of existence. And then with the Buddha pointing above and below, referencing the heavenly beings, the deities, anything that could influence the world, and then also everything coming from the earth, in saying that I alone am the chosen one. What he really was saying was, I am the one that has control over my destiny, or in a little more plain or layman terms, I am responsible for my actions. I am responsible for what happens in my life. And this was an important thing because prior to that, and even now, people believe that there were these external forces at work that influenced our lives, and it was because of them that we feel a certain way, that we live a certain way. But with all that, the first thing that the Buddha said that was important to teach was that we alone are the ones that are responsible for our actions. So putting this maybe in terms of nowadays and everyday life, when we think about things that have happened to us, probably the easiest thing for us to do is to blame someone else, blame something else. And it doesn't have to be a person necessarily, but blaming the circumstances, blaming other people. The easiest thing is to blame some other thing other than ourselves, that something unfortunate happened to us. Of course, if something good happens to us, it's all because of us or something. But that's the easiest thing. And the second easiest thing is to blame ourselves. And this is also, I think, something that's very common, at least within our community, is we take it very seriously when we fail, when something doesn't go the way we expected, especially if other people are counting on us. And we really take it hard upon ourselves. So both of these things are not really conducive to living in a very productive manner, because if we focus too much on that kind of blame, then it stops us from moving forward. And so to remedy that, within Buddhism, we hear oftentimes about mindfulness, and it gets equated with living in the now. So from my kind of limited understanding, or what I hear from people when people talk about living in the now or living in the present, what that means is that you only focus on what's happening right here, right now. And so it seems like everything else disappears, right? Like nothing, you're not thinking about the past, you're not thinking about the future, you're only focusing on now. And that's one way of understanding it. It's one way, I think, perhaps maybe of meditating, and it's a good exercise in understanding what it means to be very present in a moment. However, for my own understanding, I believe that true mindfulness is not exactly like that. It can be, nuanced in a lot of different ways. But for me, that's kind of like forgetting a lot of the important things. While each moment is different, it exists within this understanding, this existence of all these other moments in the past and in the future. And to deny that would be to deny reality. So instead of mindfulness kind of equating with this like forgetfulness, it's more being aware of the past. While we don't want to necessarily hang on to the past, especially if we have that kind of blame, we do want to acknowledge that it exists. And maybe understanding that we made the best decision that we could have in that moment, it might help us to understand in a little more positive light the past experiences. And again, being in this moment, when focusing on this moment, it doesn't mean that we let go of everything. Oftentimes, especially if we have had a negative experience lately, we have these painful emotions. And when we have these painful emotions, again, it's important for us to sit and like understand and be mindful of them. So when we're aware of the past, how the past may have happened, how maybe, we could have done something better, but letting go of that. And again, here, understanding that we have negative emotions, we have unhappy feelings, and we could be happier, we could be feeling differently. But again, trying to let go of that and just accepting how life is going as it is. When we accept, when we understand, instead of blaming, then it helps us to move forward and make the best decision from that moment going forward. Again, we'll probably look back and think we could have done something differently. And I'm not saying that we shouldn't take responsibility, but rather instead of blaming, we take responsibility, we understand that we made the best decision we could. And then from this moment, continuing into the next, again, making that same best decision that we can. So if we do have these unhappy times, sometimes the best decision is just to be unhappy. Sometimes we have to cry. Sometimes we have to monku. Sometimes we have to just go and be alone for a while. But whatever it is, we make that decision, and that's the best one for us. And then eventually we're going to have to get up to continue to live, to try to be the best that we can. But in each moment, we can only do so much. We have to be aware of our past, of how we're feeling in the present, and not allow this kind of blame or guilt to be holding us back from making that best decision. So again, if you could please join me in Gasho. Mindfulness is not forgetfulness. It is being aware of our past experiences, acknowledging our painful emotions, and making the best decision for us in that moment. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namandabs, namandabs, namandabs. Now I'll conclude the service with the reading of the letter on white ashes, which was written by Benyo Shonin in response to someone who had just recently lost someone. In silently contemplating the transient nature of human existence, nothing is more fragile and fleeting in this world than the life of man. Thus, we've not heard of human life lasting for 1,000 years. Life passes swiftly, and few among men can maintain their form for even 100 years. Whether I go before others or others go before me, whether it be today or tomorrow, who is to know? Those who depart before us are as countless as the drops of dew. Though in the morning we may have radiant health, in the evening we may return to white ashes. When the winds of impermanence blow, our eyes are closed forever, and when the last breath leaves us, our face loses its color. Though loved ones may gather and lament, everything is to no avail. The body is then sent into an open field and vanishes from this world with the smoke of cremation, leaving only the white ashes. Nothing is more real than this truth of life. The fragile nature of human existence underlies both the young and the old. Therefore we must, one and all, turn to the teachings of the Buddha Dharma and awaken to the essence of life. By so understanding the meaning of death, we come to appreciate the meaning of this life, which is to be treasured because it is unrepeatable. by virtue of true compassion, let us realize the unaccepted value of this existence, and let us live together with gratitude in our hearts. Namo Amida Butsu. 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 Thank you again, everyone, for tuning in. We will have Sunday service tomorrow morning at 9:30. You can, of course, put in the name of a loved one for next week's service. And I also have a short message every Wednesday in the evening. Okay, hopefully see you tomorrow. Bye.